Hi, Josh and Con from Flux Magnetic Studios here.
Today we're going to show you how to get a big drum sound the old school way.
Let's go.
For the kick drum we have the AKG D12. This one's from the late 50s and it was mostly designed for recording low-end instruments such as kick drums and standout bass. It features a bump in 50-60 Hz area which makes it perfect for recording kick drums. You can hear this mic on many records from the early 70s and late 1960s such as the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and many more. For the snare mic, we'll be using the Unidyne 545, which is a predecessor to the modern Shure SM57. It's very similar to the 57, except to our ear it sounds less nasally. For toms, we're using the Sennheiser MD421. These are very popular for tom applications and also for recording acoustic guitars. There's one caveat with them though, be careful when you're placing them next to cymbals and other sources as they tend to have an ugly off-axis response. For the overheads, we're using the Neumann U87. Some people like them, some people don't. We tend to like them because the ones that we have are from the older generation, as opposed to the new ones that have a brighter sound. They have a flat response and they pretty much sound good on anything. For the front kit, we have Toshiba Type A, which is a licensed copy of RCA44A. It's a ribbon mic with a large motor and a wide frequency response. Its job is to capture the overall sound of the kit and the impact of the kick drum. And for the room mics, we're using Neumann TLM 102s. They have a little bit of a compressed quality when driven hard, which we like, and seem to be doing a pretty good job at capturing overall kit image and the grittiness of the room. We like to place our kick drum mic slightly tilted and pointed at the beater about 6 inches away from the drum head. Check out this Ringo picture that shows the same mic position. In general, you want to think about a drum head as a speaker, where towards the center you would have more impact and high end, and towards the edges you would have more overtones. So you want to split the difference between the center of the drum and the edges to find the optimal tonal balance. You also want to keep your mic about 3 to 6 inches away from the drum head to let the sound to develop a little bit. And also don't forget to keep it away from the hi-hat, not to let too much of a hi-hat bleed to get in the way. Same rule can be applied to the tom mics. You can play with the distance and the position of the mic until you get the desirable result. Repeat the same for the floor tom. For the overheads, in this case it's an AB configuration. You want to make sure that they're equidistant from the snare drum so that there's no probability of phase cancellation within the stereo pair. In this case we're using an XLR cable to measure the distance. As for the front kit mic, we picked the spot that we thought sounded the best. So as you can see, X marks the spot. This allows us to capture the front kit image with the emphasis on the kick drum. Just like the overheads are equidistant from the snare, we have our room mics equidistant from the kick drum about 10 feet away. This should give us a nice and wide stereo image.
All right, here we are at the kit, and before we start recording, there's a few things to keep in mind. First of all, I like to show up early so that I have time to tune all of the drums, because you want everything to sound great in the room so that it'll sound great in the recording. I also like to make sure that I keep everything set up ergonomically the way that I'm used to, so that I have a nice natural performance and I'm not reaching for anything. And then finally, I do like to try to keep my crash cymbals and hi-hat a little higher than they normally are to keep them from bleeding into the drum microphones. But first priority is tune the drums and make sure they sound great.
Kick drum, please. Snare drum. Rack. Floor tom. There, play around the kit. Roll it.
So let's roll it and listen to it.
Yeah, let's check it out.
It's right here, tracks 3 through 9.
Yep.
Ooh,
3 through 11, actually.
3 through 11.
Yeah,
Bass sounds a little boomy to me. What do you think?
yeah, sounds a bit muddy. Let's check out all the individual mics.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Let's start with the kick.
Here's the kick. And yeah, it's a little boomy. You think you can EQ that?
Right off the bat, I think we should move the mic.
You should move the kick drum mic.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. We want to get a good sound in first.
Yep.
Now look at snare.
Look at snare. This is okay.
Yeah, I like that. I think we're getting what we need to out of that one.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to, what is this one, overhead? Or tom? It's tom, right?
These are toms. Well, not much to see here
Yeah,
yet. Check our overheads.
Here's the overheads.
They're okay. I would start with the kick drum though.
Yeah. Okay. The room mics.
So this one is the front kit. So this is fine.
Oh, that's the floor?
Yeah, that's the...
Ooh. Wow, a lot of space in this one.
The room sounds nice though, so we keep that.
Yeah, the room sounds great.
Alright.
Okay, so the kick drum mic is pretty much the only problem that we need to deal with in the room.
Yeah, we need to work in the kick drum. So let's do that. Alright, give me the kick again. Still not there.
Still too boomy.
Alright, let's go adjust it again. Keep going. I think this will do it. is good though. Yeah, I like that. I moved it back a little bit. So the snare, we moved the mic back a little bit. Okay, kick and snare. Alright, so we ended up moving the kick drum mic and the snare drum mic a little bit. For the kick drum mic, we ended up choosing a little bit an unusual spot at the top of the drum. The reason for that is that we were trying to find a perfect balance between the slap of the beater and the boom of the resonant head. That's why we chose that kind of spot. For the snare mic, we just ended up backing it off a little bit off of the drum just to let the sound to develop a little bit, and then listening the whole kit in concert to see if all the balances are in the right place. All right, let's give it a shot and cut a little bit more to tape and see how it turned out. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be better. Rolling. So I think, what do you think, Josh? I think we should do a real take now.
I think we've dialed in to a good room sound, and it's time to lay something down.
Yeah, let's go for it. So we recorded some of that with a revised mic placement. Now let's see what we have now and roll our tape.
All right, so we listened to it, and I think for starters, we fixed the problem that we had, which was the boomy kick mic. It was a strange mic placement, but it worked. The snare sounds great. It's nice and centered. It's not too hot. Moving the snare microphone back was a good decision. The hi-hats are nice and balanced in the mix. They're crisp and articulated, but they're not too hot. And best of all, we've got a good balance between our overheads and our room mics, so that we can really dial in how big of a room sound that we want.
That's right, Josh. This type of miking technique relies more on the room mics rather than on the close mics, which means your room mics are at the highest level, and then you fill everything in with the close mics and the overheads.
It's a great technique, and it works really nice. It sounds good.
Yeah, if you want big and rockin', I think you can't really go wrong with this one.
Awesome. Nice job, dude.
You know, this whole thing is a lot of work, like tape machines, consoles, setting things up, and trying to make it sound good. You know, it's a lot of work, and it's stressing and stuff. There has to be a better way to do this.
I got an idea. Let's use AI to finish up the video. Everybody else does.
That's a great idea.